So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the.
Hi, friends.
Hello.
Welcome to Authortube chat. With Jess and Kate. Choo. And Buffy, because I can see her ear.
Oh yeah, I think she actually heard you. She
Hi,
perked up a
Buffy.
little bit.
You know, all the fun. Regina's here. Michael's here. Bex is here. We've got a Christian. We've got a cat. Everybody is here.
Hello, friends.
Hello, electric interests.
Oh,
Welcome.
welcome.
Buffy is adorable.
Yes, just living her best life. Which actually then was here, and then Jess and I scared her off.
We did, because I talked to her and she ran away.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh my god, someone said my name."
Oh god, someone's talking to me. I must leave.
Oh, just cat things.
People. Except Raja would never do that. She would be like, "Oh, people, I love people," and then she would suffocate you by laying on your face.
That's all I want, actually.
You can take her with you when you leave.
I will be driving. I could.
She would be like the happiest cat on the planet, but Vin will not like it, because I can tell you right now, Merlin hates it.
Really? Oh yeah. No, that's
Merlin is so mad because anytime she wants, like, you know, cats, they just want like an iota of attention once every 10 years.
Yes.
But when Merlin wants her iota of attention, it is Raja time, because it's always Raja time.
You're right, of course.
Yeah.
Or Merlin.
Hello, Melissa and Jordan. This two-channel thing is throwing me off. We're on 2 channels. Hello, Sarah. Welcome. Kate and I are here for Authortube chat. If you are new here, because I don't know about Kate, but I've had an influx of subscribers in the past month. So if you're new, Kate and I are both Authortubers. Kind of. Kate more so than me. It's fine. And Authortube chat is where we discuss books that this year we're doing books that have had movie or TV adaptations, reading and watching them, and then discussing and comparisonizing.
Yes.
Comparing. Jaws was this month. And we are also currently reading, Kate, again, more so than I, Sid Field's screenplay, The Foundations of Screenwriting. I think we were supposed to read chapters 9 and 10 this month.
Yeah.
I definitely did not read chapters 9 and 10 this month. But
that's okay. I can go over briefly. I read them a while ago, actually, because I have been barely trying to participate alongside Becca and JC's write a script in a month challenge. So I was like, let me get like a little bit further. So I've forgotten part of what Sid had written, but I'll look over what I underlined. So,
well, I was, or I guess still currently am, because there's 3 days left in the month. I am currently a host for the amazing Readathon, which is an all-month-long readathon that Bree at Four Paws in a Book is hosting. And so I have read 21 books this month, DNF'd 3, I think, at 50% or more, because I can't count them towards the team's number unless you read at least 50%. So, yeah.
Can I just say, I'm so impressed. I watched the first video. Yes, you linked her video, and I watched it when she was introducing it, and I was like, that sounds like she put in so much work. It sounds so cool. And I was like, I can try this. And then in the first day, I was like, I cannot try this. This is too advanced for me, but it looks so fun. So I'm hoping she does it next year. And then
she has already said she's going to do it next year, but she's going to delegate tasks because she started planning it in like March of this year.
You would have to. I
filming videos, making prompts. I mean,
it's incredible.
And
all of you guys who are leading the teams are also putting in so much time and
it's like it's like The Amazing Race. There's 10 legs, so there's 10 different prompts that drop throughout the month. You don't know what they are at the beginning of the month, and so each leg has a video of like this is the destination you're going to, plus the winners and the losers of each leg get a video. So she's making 3 videos per prompt. That's 30 videos plus any extra like challenges or anything like that that's been put in the middle. And there's been like 5 to 10 of those. So you're talking like 40 videos for 1 month for a readathon. It is
insane.
Insanity, but it's been fun. So
yeah, it looks so cool.
Let's see. Regina, I've been gone all summer, so I don't have a clue about 2 channels. We're both on 2 channels.
We're glad you're back.
But we are glad you're back. Kate's is coming in clearer. I mean, it's fine.
Who knows? We usually have to pass on my channel because when we were doing it on the 3rd Tuesdays, I'm now convinced that they like work on our internet every time. And we had like 2 or 3 months where I literally like just
had no internet. Yeah.
Just like, well.
Which is one reason why we moved to the last Tuesday of the month.
The other reason being we were postponing it on accident.
Every time. Beck says, I actually kind of knew the writer of the screenplay, Carl, and I'm not going to say his last name because I can't. He was the funniest guy. He wrote The Jerk as well, which shows more of his funny side.
That's so cool because I did a little bit of research. Well, let me say, I checked out Jaws from the library, and on the DVD they have like a bonus section where they explain a little bit more of the making of process and how the author made it part of his deal that he got to like write the first draft of the screenplay. So you basically, he and Carl's names are on it, but they also had other people like kind of tinkering with it along the way before they gave it to Carl to like really improve it. It was fascinating, the like iterations it had to go through to become this thing. Yeah, with the S.
It's fine. Hello, Alexandra. Yeah, Carl wrote what ended up on screen.
That's what it sounded like.
Don't worry, we can tell.
Yeah.
Let us first ask, did you read this month's chapters of Foundations for Screenwriting? I did not. Kate read it 6 months ago.
I read it a bit ago.
Did anybody read it? Do we actually need to discuss it? Do we know what we're talking about in this? Because I don't.
Yeah, because I was like, I could go over it the most briefly for what we truly learn in chapters 9 and 10 is the like 2 incidents leading into the plot points, leading into like how to actually kind of start a scene. I thought the most interesting parts were, if you've read any of the Save the Cat or other plotting books, obviously this one came first. I don't know when the original Save the Cat came out, but this one is really, I'm sure, was like super revolutionary at the time because it really did create the format that you needed. And he talks about the main plot points that you need are what moves you from Act 1 to Act 2, or the end of Act 1 and the end of Act 2. And basically knowing those before you start writing any scenes. And then for the scene itself, I thought it was interesting how You really need to know what time and where a scene is taking place, which totally makes sense as you read screenplays, and it's like day, night, but he explains that you need to know those first so that you can imagine like how they'd actually film it. That sets up everything you need for the lighting and like where the cameras are positioned and all sorts of stuff. And so he's like, think about that before you even begin writing the scene, because it can change the whole dynamics if the scene takes place at night or day or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, no,
It's a
totally
very
makes
good
sense.
point.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were what I really took away from it.
This version that we have, the revised and updated version, was published in 2005, but the original was 1979.
Yeah.
The original Save the Cat was also 2005.
Okay.
So this was republished. That was probably a choice.
It probably was. You're right.
They were probably like, let's revise and update it because the Save the Cat novel's coming out and we don't need any competition. So
yeah.
I mean, this edition was published way after that. I don't know what year this was published in, but considering it says 2005, but then the back says Sid Field died in 2013. Unless whoever wrote the back of this was a psychic, this obviously was not printed in 2005.
That face. You're like, huh? Oh, wait a minute.
But it could have been a psychic. You'll never know.
Who knows?
Regina didn't read it.
Yeah.
Beck said, I use his charts for all my screenplays and books. It's a great, quick, and dirty way to figure out your structure. I
do really like it. I also like, as you read him, I think he does a better job than, say, the Save the Cat, where he's saying that don't freak out if yours doesn't exactly align. He's like, this is just like a general structure. He's like, and you should stick to the general structure. But if you're a couple pages off, it's fine. Like, he reiterates over and over that he'd have students call him being like, this happens on page 9 instead of page 11. Is this like what? And he's like, no, chill out. And I appreciate that, since I feel like a lot of the other how-to books are like a lot more like, you must do this at this exact point or else you are ruining your story. So it's nice.
I missed this one. Is it common that authors get to have a say in the movie adaptation of their books, like how certain scenes go? No. I don't think so. I don't think it's common. I think it's possible, depending on what kind of contracts they sign. But, I mean, some have more say-so than others. So.
Yeah.
A lot of industry people make fun of and hate the screenplay version of Save the Cat. So it was definitely on purpose.
That is fascinating.
Let's revise it. After all, this goes on its way out. That's kind of how I feel like what happened. Hello, Felicia. Welcome. Learned how to write a screenplay properly, so he brought a screenwriting book, and the first lesson was read The Godfather by Mario Puzo. That's funny, actually.
That is really funny. Oh, I did in the Jaws commentary. Steven Spielberg talks about how before he had his friend Carl come in and like actually fix up the screenplay, he had to take the original screenplay and like rewrite it himself. He said he's not a writer. It was not meant for anyone else, but just so that he could understand how it should be shot. And I thought that was interesting to make the point about how bad the original screenplay might have been. But he said that he has a lot of respect for writers, and he learned, but he said he needed it. I was like, oh, interesting.
And now we're moving on to the next portion of the day, because I didn't read it. Kate gave us a summary. It's fun. Did anybody watch and or read Jaws this month? I did both. Kate did both.
I did both. What
did y'all do?
On my channel.
Hello, Cool Gamer. Welcome on both channels. Jaws is a book? Yeah. It indeed is. By Peter Benchley.
Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it.
They came out the same year, though. Like, I think they were made to come out as, like, promotion for each other, kind of, in a way.
Kind of, yeah. The producers bought the rights to the book before it had even come out.
Yeah.
So, like, they knew ahead of time that they were like, aha, this is going to be something. And then I think the movie made the book.
Well, and I wonder, because we've had this discussion before with Becca in particular about people buying rights for things.
Mhm.
I wonder if they were working on making a like giant shark movie at the time. And they were like, we don't really have a plot or anything yet. Let's buy the rights for this so that they can't say, hey, you wrote this book based off of, or you made this movie based off of a book I wrote and didn't give me any credit for it. So I wonder if that's something that they did. And then we're like, oh, this story is awful, but there's some things in here we can use and use the things that they could. I wonder if that's why they bought it before it was even published.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Like they were already working on like a big shark movie.
Yeah, they were like, we know what's going to sell. This is what we need.
We want like a shark monster movie, scary, and then someone hears, oh well, there's a guy publishing a book about a giant shark, destroying this coastal island, and they're like, we should buy the rights to that. I wonder if that's kind of what happened. Because I mean, I'll never know. I mean, their information may exist. I don't know, but saw it as my yearly 4th of July movie. Does that count? Yes,
I think so. I have my poll coming in with 16 votes. 62% of people have watched Jaws before. 6% have read and watched. No one has just read it, and 31% have done neither. But just so you know, lots of people have seen Jaws. We picked a popular one this time.
Well,
that was on purpose. You did that.
So they already had the shark built before they had the story. I don't think they had a shark built before they had the story, but I think they might have been like had the idea for doing like a big budget shark movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, because Spielberg was attached to it before they had even bought the rights, and yeah, there's a lot of things going on in there that make me wonder like which direction all of that kind of went in.
Mm-hmm.
The book came out a year before the movie was released. Yeah, it was really close though. So it's like,
yeah, they would have been in production already, I think, by the time.
Yeah, they would have been working on it at the same time. Mm-hmm. Jaws is a classic.
Yeah.
A deep fear of big sea creatures, and I think I blame Jaws. I don't ever remember watching it as a kid, so.
I remember vaguely watching it once, and I never watched it again. Probably because I'd watched it once. I was like, that's enough.
I'm too young for this.
Yeah. Hi, Joanna.
Yeah, same happened with Psycho.
Oh. It was his first big success. And actually, okay, again, because I listened to the thing, I have a quote that I thought was so funny. I feel like creators in general look for signs for no reason other than we want a sign for something. And Spielberg had literally just done this like TV thing called Duel, which is basically like an everyman versus a giant truck that's like coming after him, I guess. And he said Duel has 4 letters, Jaws has 4 letters. They both have this theme of like this everyman and this like giant thing. And I just thought that was so funny. He was like, it just felt right. It felt like the next step. It
felt like the right move to make.
Yeah.
A TV movie in Sugarland.
Okay, the TV movie must have been, yeah.
I watched it. Spielberg said that the shark was a huge problem and always broken, so they had to shoot all the suspense scenes without the shark, which I think is brilliant. It does make it more suspenseful when you don't know where it's at and you don't know what's happening. So I remember seeing it and being horrified and terrified. I don't know about props back then, so I thought it was a real shark. I mean, honestly, even by today's standards, in most scenes, it doesn't look that fake. Like, a lot of times if you watch a movie today that was made in the late 70s, early
You
80s
can
that
tell.
has, like I mean, I've been rewatching, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and this is CGI, not necessarily props, but, like, you can tell by, like, the way that the coloring changes in the TV screen that there's some CGI is about to happen. Like,
Yes.
you can tell it's coming.
Yes.
And so when you watch movies, especially monster movies from back then where they used props and things, um, they don't most of the time, they don't look real at all, and they don't look that great. And the majority of the scenes in the movie actually looked fairly decent. Like, there's some shots where you were like, "Oof," but most of them, I mean, it's not like I looked at it and went, "That's a real shark." But, like, I mean, as a 36-year-old woman,
Yes.
but it looked good.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
In a land that lacks killer big trucks, Steven answered the call.
We needed someone.
And saw the fake one on tour that I realized sharks could be fake. I mean, that's fair.
Iconic.
It was great.
It was.
It was a good line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Jurassic Park as well is a good one as well. So about the book, Catherine.
Yes.
Since the book technically came first,
Yeah. Mhm.
what did you rate it? How did you feel about it?
Okay. Well, I don't rate things. I should get into that more, so I'm excited for your rating. But what did I think? It was an excellent opening line. I'd argue excellent opening paragraph. And then it went downhill. So it's like the first opening line I want to say is something like it's just the shark in the night swimming, and you're like, ooh, for a book about a shark, this is perfect. And then there's immediately an attack. Love that. Yeah, and then I'm trying to think of other positive things because I segmented off my notes as what I liked and what I didn't like. I like the idea of a coastal town and like the politics that would surround having to close the their main business for everyone. I think that's actually really interesting. So the concept was plus like a monster. Like the concept was cool. The execution is where I'm annoyed because for those of you that read Jaws, it ends up being way more about like weird marital problems and like it lags real bad. And also the notes I took is like it's overly sexual in every chapter all the time, and like it's not even overly, it's unnecessarily like just out of nowhere random side comments, and you're like, we didn't need that. Why is this here? And it's also like racist several times, and like a bunch of different it's one of those where I'm like, I know that something has to be of a time sometimes, but like it was a bunch of unnecessary things that added nothing to the plot and also didn't really add anything to the town or like the characterization of the people other than they sucked. Like I didn't really root for anyone. I didn't really like any of them. I was team shark, frankly. And like if the book had actually ended with all of them dying, I probably would have been happy. And it just
I want to point out a thing you said specifically. You said things can be of a time.
They can be of a time.
However, the movie came out within a year.
Yeah, and the
movie has not a single iota of the racism, sexism, misogyny, rape culture.
Yeah.
None of that.
Yeah, like
within a year. So clearly it didn't need any of that.
No, it did not. Well, also for what it's worth, the movie also completely takes out the marital problems and the cheating and the wanting to cheat, and it like actually makes the characters people you root for and you like. I liked all of the characters in the movie.
I did.
And
I like the characters in the movie.
Maybe not the mayor or whatever, you know, but like all of them that I'm supposed to like, I liked. And I'm talking about like, was it chapter 1, maybe chapter 2, this cop is like, I don't need to get specific. It's bad. I just don't like, every chapter had something unnecessary, perhaps twice. And it was gross and weird, and I don't know why he did it. And also, he went really long on his explanation for things. Like one time where you're like, oh, he's trying to make the point that like the coastal town can't survive without their summer business. And they're like, yeah, because, you know, the women will have to work the waitressing jobs in the summer just so that they can survive in the winter. And you're like, okay, that's fair. You're making the point. And he just goes on and on and on forever talking about like what the people who own the tool shop down the street have to do and what the people over here have to do. And he does that. That's how he writes. And I didn't need it. So anyways, the concept is cool, which is why the movie is cool, but the execution of the book is bad.
To further get you all there, I stopped taking notes at 9% of the book.
Yeah.
I stopped taking notes at 9%. My note at 3% says, wow, this is garbage. At 3%, they've already talked about rape 3 times. I'm currently at 9%, and they're talking about the way of the town and how Black people wouldn't make it through the winter if rich white folk didn't come there in the summer because Black people can't hold good jobs. The narrator also mentions that they covered up a Black rapist the year prior and called them molestations because none of the rich white people would show up if they knew there was a Black rapist in town. Honestly, I feel like the shark should eat these people.
The shark should eat all of them. Well, and also this dumb cop who's already been the worst a couple times, he's like, oh, I want there to be more cool mysteries, not like this shark thing or not like this woman missing at the beach. Like last year there was a rape. And like he was like, that was so cool. I want to hunt down that. And it was just like, okay, we don't need this. And just the description. Anyways, all of it was unnecessary.
How can you be racist and sexual towards a shark? I mean, coastal towns, am I right? Always team animal. You know, you are not wrong, Bex. Not
oh my gosh.
wrong.
Well, the thing I don't get is apparently Peter actually was the one to make the call to remove the marital problems in the movie. Like that was really his one contribution, was being like, maybe we need to take some stuff out. That's literally the description in the behind the scenes, is there being like, there was a lot of book and there was too much book. Oh, your friend Becca, I think, is interviewed. And that's what he was saying. And you could tell from his voice, he was like, this fucking book. He was like, there's too much book and it's not going to fit in the movie and we need to like. So I think they basically keep the last third of the book and like completely change the rest.
Shark did. So like my opinions, I gave you like my 9% opinion.
Yeah.
I was reading this in the car, listening to it while on my drive to Pennsylvania, so I could not escape. Could I have escaped? I probably would have, but I could not. The shark bits were interesting, like the bits of like getting information about like them going out on the boat every day, and they were returning every evening. Like they would go out on the boat during the day and then return in the evening because the shark wasn't active at night. It was active during the day, which I think actually was opposite. It was active during the night. I don't know. The guy didn't know what he was talking about, clearly, because he did things. The marital problems, that was where I lost my shit. So they, just like in the movie where they bring in the expert of sharks, and he comes in and he is like helping the cop find out what's going on in the town with the shark. The young researcher guy is actually the younger brother of the cop. No, God, a younger brother of a guy who used to date the cop's wife.
Yes.
Right. Okay, I got there. And so she is like flirting with him because she feels like her husband is not good enough for her. And
Yeah, there was a lot of like weird class stuff.
Classism,
That
super big. She was one of the rich white people that used to come to town during the summertime, and
she was
he
a
was a
summer
townie.
person.
Yeah, she was a summer person. He was a townie, and she basically fell in love with him and moved there, and then hated every minute of her life after that because she couldn't play tennis with her friends at the country club anymore because she was a townie now.
Yeah.
And so she like steps out on her husband and goes on this date with the researcher guy who is like described as like a very hunky dude, unlike in the movie where, I mean, I guess in the 70s, that guy could have been a very hunky dude. I don't know. He looked kind of nerdy to me. I don't know what the 70s was doing, so I could be wrong. But they like go to this diner out of town and they're like hiding in the corner so that like no one that either one of them knows can see them. And they're talking about like, they're like kind of baby flirting at first where they're like, not sure if that's what they're really there to do. And I'm like, that's what you're really there to do, my friends. You drove out of town to a restaurant where no one you know can find you. And they're talking about her fantasies and what she would like to do. I kid you not, when I say the words, he says, he asks her what fantasies did she have as a kid? And she literally said, I have the same fantasy that all young girls have. It's every schoolyard girl's fantasy to grow up to be a prostitute. That's a thing she said.
I like guffawed out loud because I was listening to the audiobook too, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
I have never, not one time in my 36 years on this earth asked an 8-year-old what she wanted to do when she grew up, and she said, I want to be a prostitute. Never. Look at this. This.
Yes, that is the appropriate response. And
that is the actual response you should have. It gets worse. And so he's like, okay, well, now that you're an adult, what kind of things do you like now? What, like when you think about having sex with someone who's not your husband, and what's your biggest fantasy? And she's like, well, just the normal one, rape. And he's like, well, describe it to me.
Yeah.
What would happen? And so she's describing like the guy breaking into the house and like him coming into the room. And I kid you not, the next words out of this man's mouth were, well, is he black?
Yeah.
And I went, hold on.
Taylor's spell, yes, but that is exactly it.
That was where my brain was. I literally was just like, this motherfucker just said that she wanted to grow up to be a prostitute. She dreams and fantasizes about being raped. And the guy across the table from her isn't like, wow, you should see a therapist. He's like, well, is the guy black?
Well, also just before then, he's like, and you enjoy it, right? And she's like, well, at first I'm scared. And he's like, you're scared? Like, that would be a surprise. And
you're
then
scared? You're scared of being raped?
So many.
I don't know that she had any schoolyard friends. I agree. Are you sure this is Jaws and not some Wattpad erotica? I'm sure, unfortunately. Peter Benchley. She said she wanted to be a what? Yeah, a prostitute. All schoolyard girls want to grow up to be prostitutes. This is all of the correct response. This is it. This is all correct responses.
And this again, that's one chapter's worth. If you imagine that, but for every chapter where there's just an offhand.
That wasn't even a whole chapter. That was like 2 paragraphs of a conversation.
Yeah. No, that's something like that happens every chapter. Where you're like, but why though? We didn't need that.
Describing girls' breasts
so much. My actual notes for the first time, he's like untethered breasts. He talks about, just the standard things. Rape, I guess, is one. What? That's
just the standard thing. I just fantasize about the standard things.
It's just all bad. It was all unnecessary.
So at that point, I have to tell you that did not give him enough credit. Absolutely. So the thing that you guys don't know, because none of you read the book, you've all watched the movie, is that in the book, the researcher dies.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The scene in where he's underwater in the movie and the shark comes in and breaks the cage open and he floats away and gets underwater. No, in the book, the shark reaches in, grabs him, and pulls him out of the cage and eats him.
Yes. After he's like kind of rubbed it in this dude's face, slash not really, that he's like maybe sort of slept with or also
He
part of
implies that
it.
he's been boning the cop's wife.
Yeah. So again, it's a completely different character, but yes, it is a different ending. It is not
Yeah.
nearly as heartwarming, though I did kind of like the last. It ends very quickly. I was almost like, wait, I thought I'd left off with some book, but it ends on just like he sees the guys get eaten, but he then like puts his head under and like sees the shark has clearly died, and he looks up and he's like, okay.
I did my job. And he gets on his little piece of driftwood out in the water and floats back in.
That part was like remarkably, that was close enough. And I was like, that's a good ending.
They ended the same, just with an extra person.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was good.
I mean, shark theme, a way to disguise the real trash. You know? With old high school buddies and he included every male misconception in the world, yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say not, because there's a small child that gets eaten. There's
a woman at the beginning of the book,
which you could say would be morally questionable because she was like, yeah.
But the book doesn't actually cast any judgment on that. If anything, it's quite clear that Peter is like, this is the coolest, hottest thing ever. You know, like he's probably team that. I mean, he does kill her with a shark, but it was not cast in a certain way. You do get the vibe though that the reason the researcher dies at the end is because we need to learn a moral lesson about cheating or something.
Well, and I wonder if that was like going on in Benchley's life at the time, and maybe that's why he said to take it out of the book, because he didn't want it out of the movie. I don't know.
That'd be funny. Who knows?
So, what are your feelings on the book as opposed to the movie, or the movie as opposed to the book, rather? Because we just discussed the book.
Yeah. What did I think of the movie? I really like the movie. It's one of those that like I would rewatch it, but like I don't know that it would be my July 4th tradition. But you know what? Oh, as July 4th traditions go, Becca, that sounds like a pretty good one. I don't know that it's like my movie, but I liked it. I thought the changes were genius. They made it much better. I liked that the main character was scared of the water. I thought that was really smart.
Yeah.
You feel the fear a lot more that way. The Jaws music is iconic. It's so good. It feels like every level did such an incredible job to put this together. I thought the pacing was fine. I liked it. It was good, I think.
I really liked the movie. I think it was done really well. I would watch it again. I could make it a July 4th tradition. Like I could get down with watching that movie every year.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't flesh out the characters as much in the book as they did in the movie, which is interesting. Because I think there was more information about the characters in the movie than there was in the book, with the exception of because once you take out like the cheating part of it and like her history with that guy's brother and everything, there's nothing left of them.
With the characters. No. Yeah.
You get more of their relationship with their kids. You see more of their kids in the movie than you do in the book.
Well, the kids are actually in danger in the movie. In the book, they just like exist to ask a couple questions of the researcher and then they go away.
They invite a bunch of people over for dinner and send the kids to bed before dinner.
Dinner parties is like a point of contention in the book. That is just like, is this a very 70s thing? Is like the dinner party?
The dinner parties were a mess because he could never invite over his townie friends. They could only have over her summer friends, and no one liked each other and nobody would talk to him and he didn't like it. And then the the one girl that they tried to hook up the researcher with was a lesbian, and like that was a big deal. And I'm just like,
You know what I will say I appreciate about the book is that even then they were like, why are you trying to turn a lesbian straight? Like, at least it didn't have any weird
right.
vibes about it. Could have been worse, which is a terrible thing. But the rest
Yeah.
of the book was terrible, so you know.
Do they have the book? No, not at all.
It did not.
The sailor was way worse in the book as far as like he was a horrible human.
Yes.
There was a thing where like he would one of his favorite things to do, he was a poacher essentially, or
Yes.
like he would take
I think
people
so.
out to kill things that were like big game fish. And he liked to take small sharks and cut them open completely, throw them back in the water, and they would still be alive. And like while their intestines and stuff were floating out, they would attack at their own bodies because it was bloody, and they would start eating themselves. And then other sharks would come and eat them as well. And like he thought that was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, so it was not like the backstory for why he wants to hunt the shark is not a good one in the book. He's just
No.
like, I like hunting. And
Yeah.
then at least in the movie, like there's some history between this dude and the sharks.
Yeah.
You know?
It was honestly, it was more upsetting when he died in the movie than in the book. Because in the book, you were like, he's trash. But in the movie, you're like, wow, this guy really went through some shit.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say in the book that the researcher does act appalled at the action because the researcher
Yeah.
loves the sharks. And it's interesting because I think Peter he did a couple things like after I think he donated a lot of money to like shark I think he was kind of appalled at what I think he was almost the stand-in for the researcher in some ways where he just genuinely really liked sharks. And then to see what his book and then the movie caused people's fears of sharks so much, he was upset that he'd helped create this like misunderstanding about them, which I think is really interesting. But yeah, then also the researcher gets eaten in the book. So really, what, you know.
Life was different in the 70s. I mean, we wouldn't know, we weren't there. Dinner parties are always a content. You know, you're not wrong. And then Sloan comes in with a dun, dun. Yeah, garbage, dumpster fire, absolutely. The lights went dark, and then dun, dun, dun. That would be cool, actually.
That would be so cool.
Disco and Farrah Fawcett hair.
Oh.
Okay. I think there was also a part in the part in the movie where like they had caught another big shark, and the research guy's like using his expertise to be like, this is not the right shark. They never catch a different shark in the book either. It's always just them looking for that giant shark. And there's also a bigger theme of like the mayor. I don't think he is the mayor in the book. He's the mayor in the movie, but I don't think he's the mayor in the book. Is like a friend of theirs. Yeah, I think they combined a couple people. In the book, he's a friend of the cops who owes a bunch of money to some mobsters over property. Basically, they were buying up all of the property and trying to sell it to the rich white people, but none of the rich white people were coming to town to buy property because there was a giant shark. And so they were like, well, you have to leave the beaches open. It doesn't matter if people die because otherwise I'm going to get shot and killed. And it's like, maybe the shark should eat you.
Yeah, that's again why I think the concept of the book could have been so cool if we had paid more attention to that, because there is such a moral dilemma for the cop. And what do you do? And actually in the book, it does a pretty good job, especially as the kid dies after they already know the woman. And like where I mean, they do this in the movie too, but like where she confronts. But in the movie, they make him a little bit more innocent. In the book, it was like a knowing choice to, and he feels horrible about it. And that's what drives him the rest of the book. But I was like, it was actually a really interesting conundrum that we spent too much time not paying attention
talking about.
Yeah.
The movie did a really good job of making the suspense more of their like hunt for the shark, because they stayed on water the whole time. Whereas in the book, they would just go out during the day and then come back after like 8 hours or whatever. And then, because that to me takes you away from the suspense of, are you going to catch the shark? Whereas when you are on the water the whole time and there's nowhere to go but water,
Yeah.
that to me is more suspenseful. I think they made it more suspenseful in that way.
I totally agree. Yes.
Oh, there we go. Maybe we're the sick ones wishing the shark would eat people.
Nah.
I mean, it's possible, but you know,
just the characters.
just the non-existent actual characters, like people who don't exist in the real world.
Yeah. Okay. So my notes again with Carl's rewrite. He said that it was too much story for the film, and he kept too much story. They needed a smoother through line, and to make the characters more human and believable, the tension more unbearable, and the suspense more frightening. Which, to your point, I think they did by keeping them on the water.
I think they did a fantastic job of making a very crappy book into a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gave the book 2 stars, but also in my rating was like, I wish I didn't have a rating scale so that I could give this 1 star.
That was my favorite part.
But like, there were things about it that weren't completely atrocities. Like, the plot was okay, the pace was okay, the world building was fine, his writing was fine. It was just, and so when something is fine, it's a 3 star, you know? It's not like I hated it. But then that makes it have a higher rating. I wanted to give it a 1 star, but I could not because I am ethical to my rating scale.
Yes. Yes. And we appreciate you. Our resident booktuber.
Telling you. I just wanted to give it a 1 star.
Let me give it a 0 star.
Oh, girl. If I could, I would.
Is there anything else? Does anyone have any questions about Jaws or any other thoughts? Jess, do you have any other thoughts?
Sounds like you should make an exception. I mean, if there was ever a book to make an exception for. So this is the thing, though. The likelihood that I would ever rate a book 1 star is so low because typically, if I'm like, I would have DNF'd that book so quick. Like,
well, yes.
The likelihood is real low.
If we were not reading this for Authortube chat, at what point would you have DNF'd? Knowing that like it spawned, you know, the movie and all this stuff. Just if you were not somewhat obligated to finish, when would you?
9%.
At your 9%?
At my 9% when I was making notes.
Yeah.
9%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which to me is fine. Now, had I read it this month, I would have read at least 50%. Because of the readathon, and I couldn't count my points unless I read at least half of the book.
Here's the thing, though. I kept pushing through. I watched the movie first, and then I read the book. Usually for Authortube chat, I actually do it reverse, but I was like, I know the movie better, so let's see if that makes a difference. And at the 50% mark, I think is when I was messaging you. I hadn't quite gotten to the weird prostitute conversation yet, and I was like, I would DNF right now. Like, it felt like we were really over here when I wanted to be with the shark. And I thought about DNF. I had like 2 or 3 hours left, and I was just like, Oh, that is a good question. I've not seen any others.
I have not watched any of the sequels, but I do think there are books, but I think they were both written by different people.
You know, I'm a little surprised. Maybe because we've had Sharknado. I'm surprised there's not been another one because I'm looking at it now, and Jaws was 1975. Jaws 2 was 78. Jaws 3D was in 83. And Jaws the Revenge was in 87. So that's 4 movies within the span of 12 years. But
well, the Jaws 3D is just Jaws in 3D. It's not actually like...
Is it really just...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Because Jaws the Revenge is the 3rd book.
It says starring Dennis Quaid.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do I know then?
The film follows the Brody children from the previous films to to SeaWorld, a Florida marine park with underwater tunnels and lagoons. As the park prepares for opening, a young great white shark infiltrates the park from the sea, seemingly attacking and killing the park's employees. Oh, there's a second, much larger shark that has also entered the park and is the real culprit.
It's Jaws 3 in 3D. Okay. See, I was wrong. I'm allowed to be wrong.
That is fascinating.
That one's for you, Catherine.
There is a short story that I have on my website that I was a part of, a short story collection that you can buy under Kate Kavanaugh. Anything else under Kate Kavanaugh, there is nothing.
They do not exist. I don't know what the next book is, but I don't know if I'll trust y'all's judgment. Like, just Home Alone, and I have to read about Kevin McAllister's racist ransom hooker fantasies.
Well, we do have it selected. Hopefully, it's not. I've never seen the film. Oh, that's what he was talking about. I've heard that quote. I've never seen the film, but by all accounts, it was terrible. However, I've seen the house they built, and it is terrific. Oh, Michael Caine.
Nope, I don't remember that either. Because I've never seen Back to the Future 2. Jurassic Park, but Jaws. Jurassic World, but Jaws.
Fascinating.
Are you guys ready to know what we're gonna do next month? Because we're short today. We're only doing an hour today because we can.
Because we can, yeah. Because I'm migrainy.
Because Kate is migrainy and I have to read this whole book before book club tomorrow.
You can do it. Wait, what book is it?
This is called Fowl Eulogies by Lucy Rico. It's about a girl who is a vegetarian who, upon her mother's death, has to go back to the chicken farm where she grew up and deal with the chickens. And she writes them eulogies as she kills them.
That is fascinating. I hope you enjoy it.
I have no idea. I'm on page like 22.
Okay, let me know if you do. I would read that. That's interesting.
Yes, everyone wants to know.
All right.
Okay.
I do not have neither of us have a copy of the book.
Nope, can't hold anything up, but here we go.
Yeah.
Next month, we will be reading and watching Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. Because we were getting a little spooky. Not a lot spooky, but a little spooky. And, we wanted to pick something again that most people have probably heard of, seen, watched, done something with, Oop, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. There.
I tried to put a smiley face at the end of my sentence, and then it deleted
just took the whole sentence away.
I always forget it does that, but I just use smileys all the time, so I forget. But I was trying to say I'm okay. It's just,
the
I'm
recovery of the migraine.
The worst pain.
I need everybody to read the book. As I told Kate, there's a scene in the book that I remember that horrified me and made me want to vomit. And somebody else that I know that read the book was like, I don't remember that part. And I'm like, did I make it up?
I'm so intrigued because, so Gillian Flynn, who wrote Gone Girl, the book, is also the person who wrote the screenplay. Now, I've only seen the movie, and there's like quite a few gruesome scenes. But from what I've heard, she actually changed quite a bit. So I'm like, maybe one of them was what makes the screen, but maybe, Jeff might be on your side.
I'll just say it involves a lamp. And when you get there, you'll know.
Oh, that's so ominous. Okay.
Pretty spooky time. Do 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 do. I don't know what song that was that I was just do 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 do. But
I am going to share the link to this screenplay. So it's a shooting script. So it's not fully the same And by that, I mean it's not the same at all. So I'll see if I can find an actual screenplay. And
I haven't watched the movie, but I've read the book, so I'm gonna watch the movie. I'm not gonna reread the book. I rated it. I think I rated it like a 3-star, but I didn't make a single solitary note. There's no notes. This is also pre me having a rating scale, and it was when I first started BookTube, so I think I was afraid to not like it because I didn't want people to hate me.
That's so funny because it was like all over the place. I feel like a lot of people's favorite at the time was Gone Girl.
Hi, Wallace. Trying to get a few hours of writing done, but I wanted to say hi. And this movie scarred me for life. I mean, I can see how.
That's fair.
Book's been on my list for a while. Well, you should read it.
Same, Joanna. And that is why we're going to do it this time.
What the fuck? Hi, JC. Have fun at Neo's stream. Yeah. Girl on the train.
Not wrong.
The other girl. I don't know. Girl in the window. Woman in the window.
Did you ever see, it was on Netflix, it had oh my gosh, Kristen Bell in it, and it was like a parody, the girl in the across the road from the child in the house or something. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. But I never watched it.
Oh, okay.
But I know the title, yeah.
Okay. I might have been the only one who actually thought it was funny.
Oh, I laughed. I thought it was hilarious. Like the title. I didn't watch the movie.
No, the title alone is so funny. I remember hearing people being confused on if it was a parody or not, but I watched it all the way to the end, and the last episode is unhinged. It is so funny. Like, it was worth slogging through the rest of it, but it was funny. If you like these kind of Gone Girl-esque mysteries, I think, and if you've seen enough of them, it's perfectly on point.
Am I going to watch Hocus Pocus? 9 chances out of 10 that me and Kate and Wallace and Bex and Grape and Devacia are the same person, and Katie will be watching this movie together. So,
yes,
most likely. Oh God, your mom watched it?
Well, when I see your mom, I can ask her.
Have you met Becca's mom before?
No, I haven't. I want to.
I thought that you had said that you had, and I was so confused.
No.
And so we were like talking about it.
I think we've had a bunch of like near misses. I think. I don't think I've met her. I might have waved once, like if Becca was on like FaceTime or something. My mom's also Donna. We've had like a bunch of random. Becca's met my mom, but I've not met Becca's mom yet.
Okay. I don't know what happened, but my brain just said that you had. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh. I agree. 11 chances out of 10. And okay.
Yeah. So me and Becca's mom live in a different universe from you guys where you guys have met.
I mean, who knows? I told you there's a Chillicothe, Texas, Chillicothe, Ohio. Maybe that's where there was a meeting point somewhere, and we've crossed over into different timelines. And one of them we met.
Something happened, and I feel like we were there for it.
Yes.
Anywho, anybody have any final comments, questions, or concerns before we head out for the evening? Kate, do you have anything going on in the next week or so that you need people to know about?
Do I have anything going on? I am trying to finish up. Oh, I was going to shout out again Becca and JC's vlogs they've been doing for writing a script in a month. I might be trying to get that done in the first week of September. And also, I'm like full stream Project Death for all of September, so I can successfully get it to you by our very official deadline. So
our very official deadline that I will 100% not be ready for. I am so here for it.
Have faith, Jessica. We can do this.
I've only got 80% left of the book to rewrite.
I believe in you. Well, Like, you know what I realized is, so I've been trying, we could talk about this later, but I've been trying to put more words into the story this whole time because it was quite short for a standalone fantasy, and that's always my problem. And then I was looking at it, and I hadn't quite reached the midpoint because I kept adding words in, and I did the math. And if I continue on this same track, like, the book will be like 180,000 words, which is too many words. It is too many. And I was like, what have I done? So like I moved from here and like swung completely in the wrong direction. So now I have to go back over it again. Check
out words. You're screwed. Well, what you could do is you could just take like 40,000-ish of those words and put them in a document and send them to me, and I'll just put them in mine.
Yeah, that could work.
It could work.
It'll all make sense. We both have a death character.
We both have a character that's death. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. Friday night.
Yes.
At 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, I will be doing sprints on my channel because it is Summer Scare Readathon time. So
I'm very excited for that. I watched the initial video and I need to rewatch it with actually getting some books in order so I can participate.
I will be doing all day prompts either Saturday or all day sprints either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday this weekend, but I don't know which because I have some plans with some other people IRL happening and we're not sure what day. So look out for me to just randomly pop up and be like, let's sprint. So
yay. I could use those all day sprints.
Okay. Say bye.
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 I'm coming for the throne.